Hey, it's Aaron, and today I've got something very special. This is a slingshot from Polaris. I'm trying to get in the shade, but the sun keeps moving and that tree's not quite tall enough, so I'm still getting sun, but whatever. The slingshot comes in a couple of different flavors. This happens to be the SL. I had to look on the back because I can't remember all the nomenclature.
Hey, this is Aaron from AaronOnAutos.com, and today's review is brought to you by Stop Soldier Suicide. Find the link below, click, and donate. Appreciate it.
This happens to be the SL, which means it has 178 horsepower. This also has the automatic transmission with paddle shifting. Paddle shifting is new this year. That little four-cylinder engine is a powerhouse, runs up to 8,500 RPM, and all of that power goes to that one back wheel. It's phenomenal to drive this thing. You do need to wear a helmet. I have to say that right off the bat. This little bug shield here kind of stops the bugs. This is very important for everything else. Full face. Make sure, full face. Anyway, wonderful to drive. It gives a lot of power pretty quickly, and a lot of that is because the engine is not shy to run those RPMs high. Now, if you have the transmission in automatic mode, the shifting is a little bit rough. It does jounce a lot. It is belt driven in the rear, and if you're keeping your foot on that throttle and the shift happens, then you're going to get a jounce as the RPMs change, whether that's an up or a down shift. Now, the way to control that is with paddle shifting. You can put it in manual mode and force the shifting. Then the only time the transmission will shift on its own is to save itself. So if you run the RPM too high, it will shift. If you run them too low and it's going to gurgle out, it will shift. Otherwise, it lets you do everything, which lets you run the RPM as high as you want. So I have been consistently just powering this at 4,000 to 6,000 RPM, depending on if I'm just in town or I'm trying to really fly. Lots of fun to drive. Tons of fun. Now, price tag. Price tag will vary according to the package you get. The lowest end package is one step below this, and there are two packages above this. Both of those packages above this one, they add on a lot of accessories as well as a power boost, putting that engine to 205 horsepower. That's a big boost from 178, and you'll feel it in this because this whole rig doesn't weigh that much. I don't know what the curb weight is, but it can't be more than 1,500 pounds. I'd be amazed if it's that. So really cool. Now, I'm going to show you some little features and accessories, but I really just wanted to emphasize how awesome this thing is to drive and just the look of it. I get phrases like Batmobile and stuff like that. I drove one of these last year, and it was in the black color. Dark blue is technically what the color is. Same package, dark blue color. And it definitely looks like a Batmobile in black or very dark blue. So let me move the camera and let's have a look from the driver's side, and I'll talk about a couple of the features that are in here. So the first thing I'm going to show you here is the cockpit. You can see the steering wheel. I'll point out some of the features. This over here controls all of your audio stuff. So this is the stereo and so forth. Volume controls here, track selection here, play, pause, etc. here. This is also your voice control button for the infotainment. Over here is cruise control stuff. So these set the cruise. This turns cruise on and off. This goes through the little driver's menus that are sort of on that screen right there. It's hard to see that screen. Maybe that helps a little bit. There's a screen right in the middle. I'm not running the engine because it's pretty loud. This is your drive mode control. The red slingshot means you're in sport mode, which means the transmission, when it's on its own, will be much more lenient about letting the RPMs run before shifting. It also just changes. You'll hear a change in the exhaust note. I don't think that's a change in the engine. I think it's just the way that the sound happens because the RPMs stay higher. So it's hard to quantify how that is or explain it. Then you have turn signals, of course, and you have your paddle shifters on either side here. They follow the wheel. Now, let me see if I can get enough of it in screen. That's as good as it's going to get. This right here is your infotainment screen. It has a lot of information as far as, say, your drive metrics and other things. I'll show you some photos of what these look like. And then you have some controls down here for that screen there, plus traction control and your hazard lights. So you can turn on the Duke's lights with that big switch. This is your transmission control. This does not have park. You put it in neutral and you pull the parking brake, just like a race car or motorcycle. You pull a little handle and it opens this. That gives you access to this. There's one behind each of the seats. This is equipped with these Polaris fitted backpacks. So these go inside and they fit with the they fit in this cubby exactly right. And then their backpacks, they have a sling on the back. You can pull them out. And then the size of the cubby is pretty well illustrated by the fact that it will hold a helmet. So if you park somewhere and you're going to go inside for a while and you don't want to carry your helmet with you, you can shove it in there, close it all up, lock it if you want, and you're good to go. So back here at the rear of the vehicle, you can see the roll bars right here. So theoretically, your head should not stick above these. Mine, I think, is about even. I think if you were to run a ruler across. I am pretty tall. I'm 6'3". So, but that's what these are. Then you see the single drive wheel, and you can probably just see where the belt is for driving that. Here is your fuel filler. This is where you fill fuel. These are tail lights and turn signals and so forth. And this right here is also a tail light. So it's the third tail light. There is a camera in here for backing up. It's right there. That's required by law, so they have to have it. But just a wonderful setup, and it looks really cool from the back. Just as cool back here as it does up there. Real eye-catching machine. Lots of people love to look at this. I've been asked a dozen times, just in the last couple of days, I've been asked a dozen times, can I get a ride? What is that? How much do they cost? So speaking of cost, let's get into that. Prices will vary, start somewhere around, I think, $25 if I remember right. I'll try to show you a chart if I can get it to come up. This one right here is somewhere in the $30,000 range. It's about $33,000 delivered. So not a bad price to pay considering what you're getting. This is a perfect machine for just getting around town for fun. It's really great for just having a good time going out on the highway or going somewhere and having a good time. And then also, we've talked about it a little bit. I talked about it with my wife. I've talked about it with some other people. If you have an RV and you need a tow vehicle behind it, boom. You get this and a cover for it, and you're good to go. There are versions of this that have a top cover. It's a sun cover. It's not really a rain cover that goes over the top here just to keep the sun off of you. If you live in a very, very hot place, I would recommend doing that. But again, you're wearing a helmet, so sunscreen or long sleeves, and you're probably going to be good to go. So looking at it just quickly from the side, I wanted to give you that side profile so you can see what it looks like. Disc brakes up front and one large brake back here. Most of your braking happens up in front. And getting in and out, I'll kind of show you that. It's going to look goofy and you're going to look like an idiot, but anything for YouTube, right? So getting in is mostly just like any sports car. You put your right foot in on the floor, you point your butt in the right direction, you fall in. Getting back out's a little more complicated. Usually what I do is lift the steering wheel to give myself maximum leg room, and then I just squeeze out like that. Full face helmet. Again, really have to have one of those with these. And don't buy the cheap ones. Anyway, that's about what I've got. This is the 2021 Polaris Slingshot. Wonderful vehicle. Lots of fun to drive. Talk to you again soon.
Subscribe.